Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hampton Law Firm. I'm Jeff Hampton. I wanted to hop on here today and talk for a couple of minutes. I had a prospective client that gave me a call and wanted to know about their drug case. They said, look, Jeff, I was pulled over. I was arrested for a drug charge, but I think the search was illegal. What kind of effect is this going to have if my search was actually illegal? Will I be able to get my case dismissed? Now, thanks for joining us today. If you like the video and what you see here today, I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, maybe share the video or like what you see here. We're going to, at the end of this video, if you wait around to the end, I'll also give you a free book, a free ebook, what to do if you've been charged with a drug crime in Texas. All right, so let's jump right into this. When you're analyzing whether or not a search was legal or not, and how does it affect a specific drug case, the first thing you have to look at is say, okay, what analysis do we need to do? Did it happen in a car or a vehicle, or did it happen at a location, premises, maybe at your home? So the first thing we're going to look at is a place or premises. Now, if the police show up at your house or at a building, a location, and they want to do a search, of course, everyone knows this, they have to have a search warrant, right? But the analysis here is very important because in order to determine whether or not the police officer has probable cause to be able to do that search and to seize anything that they locate within the actual premises, we have to take a look at the search warrant affidavit, okay? Now, what is a search warrant affidavit? It's basically a document that is supposed to detail specific evidence that the police are relying upon in order to be able to get in there and do that search, okay? Now, when we look at that, it's very important. With drug cases, police officers don't really know for sure usually what's in there. So what they usually do is they rely upon someone called a confidential informant, okay? Now, what is a confidential informant? Confidential informant is someone who usually gets arrested for a smaller quantity of drugs. And this is kind of a little known secret that people don't realize how this works many times. So let's say an individual user that's never been in trouble before, they have a smaller felony quantity of drugs. The police hang out at a known drug house. They wait for that person who came and picked up those drugs to pull out. They look for a little small traffic violation. They pull them over. They get the drugs from them, and here's what they do. They give them an option. You realize I'm about to charge you with a felony crime. You got two choices. I'll just go ahead and arrest you right now and take you in, and your life is over. Or you can give us the names of 3 people, and if they're above you on the pecking order when it comes to distributing drugs, or if they're dealers, if you can give us 3 names of people that we can use to prosecute, you can work off your case. That's basically the way that they try to sell it to someone. Now, I'm going to kind of pivot for a second because I have a lot of people that call me and say, hey, a narcotics officer made this offer to me. I initially agreed to it, and now they're wanting me to work off this case. Should I do it? Well, whether or not you should do it really depends. It's really important because here's the thing. Number one, you need to think long and hard about whether you really want to do this. Because once you're committed into it, they're going to push you on it. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just trust what a narcotics agent tells you and just believe that the 3 people's names that are being given are going to be sufficient. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't realize this. You can actually do a contract with the narcotics agents to put together an agreement on what it is that's going to be done if you are going to give them that information. And so as a result of that, I think it's very important that you have an attorney work out that advisement with narcotics to make sure that you're protected in that regard. And so otherwise, you may think you've worked off your case and you find out you didn't work it off at all. I've actually seen clients that provided 3 names and the narcotics agent turned around and said, yeah, those weren't good enough. I need 3 more, or I need 2 more, or I need someone above these people. So it's very important that you really think long and hard about that, because if the narcotics agent, if you don't have a contract to back it up, the DA may not honor it and you're still facing charges. All right, now if the police ransacked your premises, your attorney needs to go over that search warrant affidavit in detail. Look over the 4 corners of that search warrant to make sure, did they include information sufficient to establish probable cause? If not, your 4th Amendment rights have been violated. And the thing that people don't realize is if we can attack that, if you can attack that search warrant affidavit and it's determined to not establish probable cause, then everything that was seized as a result of that is no longer admissible in a court of law. All right, so now let's pivot. There's more I could talk about there, but let's talk for a minute about your car or maybe your vehicle. Now, it does take reasonable suspicion to pull over a vehicle. That's a different legal standard, reasonable suspicion, but it takes probable cause to actually search your vehicle, okay? So when you start talking about here, this is a warrantless search. So the officers must see, observe, or gain some knowledge that gives them a reasonable belief that's probable cause that some crime is taking place in order for them to actually search your vehicle. So it's critical that your criminal attorney, whoever you hire to help you on this, that your criminal attorney needs to look over the police reports. They need to look over the video to determine, is the reason the police officer gave, is that sufficient to actually establish probable cause for him to actually search your vehicle, okay? So a common example, I'm gonna give you a couple examples, okay? One example is an officer will pull someone over, and as they're walking up, they'll write in their report that they smelled the burnt odor of marijuana, okay? That's one of the examples that they'll give. Well, one thing that people don't realize, currently in 33 states, and this is continuing to grow, in 33 states currently do not allow the odor of marijuana to be a basis to search a vehicle. Now, people think that's strange, but the reality of it is this may be an issue that deserves to be litigated because there has been a change in Texas law. Previously, under Texas law, marijuana is marijuana and you can be charged with it. Now, marijuana is not marijuana. And what do I mean by that? It's required that the THC level is proven. The amount of the THC level is proven to be over a certain amount in order for it to constitute an actual crime. Okay, so this may be something that if that's what they're arguing has happened in your case, you need to make sure you speak to your lawyer about that issue. So the next point is, and this is one that I find that happens all the time, is an officer walks up and sees what he thinks is like a joint sitting in plain view, right? What if the officer walks up and just sees something sitting there right in front of their face? Well, this is kind of a tough situation to get around, all right? Think about this. If the joint is sitting there clearly in plain view, the police officer now can just rely upon what he saw, and especially if it's on his body camera, to establish probable cause to do a further search. That probable cause will be to search any area within the vehicle where drugs could be found. Now, what about the next point? What if it's not something like drugs he sees in plain view? What if he sees like a coffee can or maybe a unique container that he has a hunch that he thinks there might be something illegal in that? This is a little different because the question becomes, does the container by itself have something so distinguishable about it that would lead this officer to be able to reasonably determine that there's probable cause to search it? And sometimes officers take that too far, and we learned that they did not have a reasonable basis to establish probable cause for searching that. Here's the other one that comes up, and this one drives me crazy because I see it all the time. The officer will walk up and claim he sees furtive movements. Furtive movements, meaning he thinks you moved very quickly in some regard, and the only explanation for that quick movement has to be that you're trying to hide drugs or a weapon, right? And so when we look at that, when a police officer claims that, he's claiming you're trying to hide or dispose of drugs. This is why videos are our friend, okay? It's important as a good criminal defense attorney, we want videos. Because if we take a look at that video and we see that the video doesn't quite show this furtive movement that they're claiming they're relying upon, that draws into question whether there was probable cause to then do a search of the vehicle. Okay? Another example is they think somebody put something in their mouth or they threw something out the window. And that can be a basis that many times police officers try to rely upon. So this is a big reason why I think it's really important that you have a good criminal defense attorney that goes over all these facts. It's not as simple as you had it or you didn't have it. The how they got there to find these drugs is critical to your constitutional rights. So if you have any questions about your drug case, I encourage you to contact the Hampton Law Firm at 817-877-5200. And I promised you if you waited around to the end of this video, I'd give you a free ebook, what to do if you've been charged with a drug crime in Texas. So all you got to do is click on the link right down here below, fill out your email information. I'll be happy to send that over to you. And thanks for joining us here today. I look forward to seeing you on our next video series. And if you have any comments, maybe your situation, you know of someone else that's gone through this, feel free to post in the comments section below and I'll be happy to get back with you on it. All right? Have a good day.